Well, certainly business improvement. We're all feeling the effect wherever we are in business in terms of this digital wave, where the customers have now become very eloquent. They have very high expectations, and those expectations continue to evolve. So it's not just good enough to be good enough now. You have to build in the mechanisms which allow you to carry on improving going forward, and that of course is uncertain. We don't know how fast we are going to move, we just know we have to move faster. And so that's a big change from a few years ago, where we could put implementation programs in place and that improvement would stick for years. It's now lucky if it sticks for months. Well, there's certainly always been a traditional differences in the way industries have faced off towards the customer. So if we think sort of classically, the retail industries, particularly retail fashion, have always been much closer to the customer and the sensitivity towards that in terms of trends and changes and so on. The other end of the spectrum would probably be the public sector, which have tended to be immune from the customer because they're being driven really by budgets and allocation of budgets from central authorities. But what we're seeing now is that any business that has a customer, if you think about that, every business has a customer, and need to embrace these newer approaches where we're extending out our traditional ways of doing things around business improvement, those Lean and Six Sigma approaches, to go outside in, to become certainly much more customer centric. And with that idea of customer experience management, understanding that the customer experience isn't just bounded by the organisation anymore. So you're going back to your question in terms of public sector, banking and so on. I would say banking is moving faster than public sector. Of necessity, it needs to. The customers are more immediate and they'll vote with their feet. Customers have less choice with public sector services, but now they have much greater influence over their representatives, who in turn are applying pressure. So there is a sort of a difference, but the neat thing is that one can learn from the other. So I certainly know with banking services, and you look at some of those progressive organisations, they're looking at the leading retail fashion houses like Zara and H&M for what they should be doing next. And likewise, the government sector, the public sector, can look to what's going on in banking and perhaps in pharmaceutical industry as well, construction and mining industries. We can all transfer those ideas across those industries, because at the end of the day, if we're focused on a successful customer outcome and we're aligning everything we're doing to that, then logically we can take some of those improvement ideas and place them across all those different industries. I think that again the thing that comes across, and we have to remind ourselves that this is like a moving feast, and somebody sets a benchmark and then you're judging people against the benchmark. And what I've noticed is a sort of a crispness in presentation this year. Everybody's really well prepared, but there's a depth and a breadth to the presentation. So how that comes across, for instance, is that ideas and implementation programs in the case studies are very much backed up by the data. So they're not just a bunch of platitudes on PowerPoints, which with respect might have been the case 5 or 10 years ago. And each time somebody comes along and presents at that higher level, it raises the bar for everybody else. So the quality, the depth and breadth of the presenters is very different. Also the aspect of having the workshops where people can be a little bit more paced, and they've got an opportunity to bring some of their own things to the event and then play them out with the coaches and leaders of workshops. Again, that's a terrific opportunity to learn in a very short space of time and go away with some good content that you can deploy straight away. Well, certainly if we look at it from an Australian perspective, it's the PEX Week programme has evolved significantly over the last couple of years, and it now reflects all the change that's going on across business, not just peculiar to Six Sigma or Lean. It involves BPM, customer experience management and so on, and I think that theme is very much of a global one. People are now stepping up to appreciate that change isn't just about one particular functional approach. It's all about taking what's that word that the consultants use, an holistic approach, and that's certainly the way people are going. My involvement from a sort of PEX Week point of view, both involved in the US, the UK and Singapore, is it's almost like an annual circuit, and one sort of lends itself to the next. And what we're seeing is not so much of an evolution now, it's more of a revolution in thinking. And the people who are actually presenting, the people who are bringing case studies and the workshops are at a significantly higher level than they were certainly 5 years ago, as far as I can remember.